The United Kingdom is known internationally for many things. Tea, the royal family, castles, fish and chips, and the BBC, just to name a few. In terms of sport, the UK is synonymous with the likes of football, rugby, cricket, and golf. It's a country comprised of die-hard fans of various teams, and sport is an integral part of the culture. But what about a game that is far more commonly associated with the land of maple syrup and beavers? What about the sport of hockey? Or ice hockey, as it's more commonly known across here, because can't mix it up with field hockey. Maybe I'm biased, I'm definitely biased, but I think hockey is one of the greatest sports ever. And my love of the game was not born from the NHL and the Toronto Maple Leafs, even though of course that is what my entire personality is now, but instead it was born from the hockey which exists on my side of the pond in the UK. I've covered hockey in the UK in various videos before, but there is still so much more to dive into. So while it's the off season, I thought I would start a new series on this channel covering all aspects of hockey on this side of the Atlantic. There is a lot to talk about, and what better way to kick off the series than talking about the rise of hockey in the UK, how it's become more popular, why attendances are on the rise, homegrown players continue to lace up their skates, and why it feels like hockey is becoming bigger than ever before in the United Kingdom. So if that sounds like something you would be interested in, please subscribe to my channel and let's dive into the topic of the rise in popularity of hockey in the UK. Hockey has been around in the UK for longer than you'd probably imagine. Allegedly, the first hockey game on this side of the pond took place in 1885 between Oxford and Cambridge universities. However, there are doubts that this event ever even took place, with some believing that a bandy game occurred, not a hockey game. But either way, by 1903, the first European Ice Hockey League was formed in England. 5 years later, the first game to be played in Scotland took place in Glasgow, of course. Very important to me. The British Ice Hockey Association was set up in 1914, and this continued in operation until 1999 when it was replaced by Ice Hockey UK, which is what we still have today. The sport of hockey saw an increase in interest during the 1980s, and its popularity rose even further during the 1990s with the establishment of teams like the Sheffield Steelers and the Manchester Storm. These teams had larger arenas, more similar to the facilities found in North American hockey. Hockey only kept growing in the 2000s with the introduction of teams like the Nottingham Panthers and the Belfast Giants. However, despite the formation of the UK's professional league that we have today, the Elite Ice Hockey League, or the EIHL for short, which replaced the previous Ice Hockey Super League, which was really popular among fans, attendances did decrease during the mid to late 2000s. However, hockey in the UK saw a revival during the 2010s, and it is now the UK's most popular indoor sport. Being a hockey fan in the UK can be a little bit strange sometimes. It's by far the most popular indoor sport, beating the likes of basketball, snooker and darts. Yet it's still very niche. It has a relatively small following compared to other sports. And more often than not, when I mention hockey, the response still usually is, "We have hockey in the UK? Isn't that just in Canada and the States? Maybe Sweden?" But despite this, hockey has still continued to gain traction in recent years. In the 2024-25 season, 1.24 million spectators attended EIHL games, with an average attendance of 3,660 people per game. However, teams like Sheffield and Belfast had average attendances of between 7,000 and 8,000 per game. Last season was the fourth time the EIHL has surpassed 1 million spectators in a season. This is the third season in a row that the league has reached this milestone. Meanwhile, the National Ice Hockey League, which is the semi-pro league here in the UK, saw record attendances across various teams last season. Especially over the festive period around Christmas and New Year, games are even more popular then, with teams like the Milton Keynes Lightning and the Peterborough Phantoms selling out their arenas for certain games, with the teams playing in front of more than 2,500 and 1,500 fans respectively. These sellouts at a semi-pro level really indicate growth in the sport, because it isn't only the professional league which which is seeing this increase in numbers. The Scottish National League, or the SNL, also continues to draw in fans across Scotland, with the Edinburgh Capitals versus Aberdeen Lynx final regular season game recording 1,900 fans in attendance at Murrayfield. Hockey is now the fastest growing winter sport in the UK, and it certainly feels like more people than ever are talking about the game. And yet the sport's deep root, passionate fans and increasing popularity still has a lot of room for growth. In June 2023, only 5% of 8,230 consumers in the UK showed an interest in hockey. This is much lower than you would expect, and it does highlight that though the potential is there, there is still a lot of scope for future growth. So long may hockey continue growing in popularity up and down the country. Anytime someone asks me what hockey fans are like in the UK, I think the best way to describe it is that what they lack in number, they make up for in passion. Though it can never compete with football crowds, it's just too niche for that. Fans are really dedicated to their teams over here. They follow them home and away through the highs and the lows. UK hockey fans are loud and they are proud. I'd say that the fan culture is definitely different to North American fans despite it being the same sport. And as someone who is lucky enough to experience both a lot of the time, they definitely have their differences. Like a lot of European fans in other sports, chants, drums, noisy atmosphere are very much key elements of the fan experience. The demographics of a fan base definitely vary between location and team. A fan survey by the EIHL in 2023 highlighted that the youngest fan base in the Elite Ice Hockey League is Belfast, followed by Dundee and Manchester. Statistically, the oldest fan bases were Nottingham, Guildford and Fife, while the average age of a fan across the league was 38 years old. I think one of the main appeals that hockey has is that it is identified as a family-friendly sport, and so people bring along, older relatives, children, families come, groups of friends come, couples come. I think the variation in this demographic is something that hockey really has that's a bit unique. I mean, obviously all sports are for everybody, but there's something about hockey that is definitely marketed as more of a family-friendly sport to attend, and I think this really draws a wider variety of people in than some other sports. And I think this is a big contributor into hockey getting bigger across here. In terms of fan experience, the same survey highlighted that the Belfast Giants had the best pre-game show, followed by Sheffield and Cardiff. I don't think it's any coincidence that these teams are among the largest in the league. They have the most fans and the bigger arenas. I personally believe that fan experience is one of the most important things in the sport of hockey. Throwing it back a little to when I was still at university, I wrote my master's thesis on creative marketing in the NHL. And in that project, I discussed the importance of game day entertainment and how it ties into experiential marketing, which is a marketing strategy that creates interactive engagement for consumers, and it leads to a deeper connection with the brand and creates far more memorable experiences. I think in the example of the EIHL, it really showcases that creating an environment for fans to enjoy is just as important as the on-ice product. You need to find enjoyment for fans beyond what's happening on the ice. The fan survey ranked the SSE Arena in Belfast as having the highest ranking for seating and general arena facilities. And it's funny because I definitely know just from people that I know through the hockey that Belfast is typically a lot of people's favourite away destination, and a lot of people will every single year go to Belfast for an away game during the weekend because they enjoy the experience so much. Again, Belfast and Sheffield fans had the highest satisfaction with their team's selection of merchandise, although shout out for Fife Flyers for having the highest satisfaction when it comes to food and drink available on game nights. And I agree, the drink selection at that bar is the best. This is how the game grows. It's not the same as in Canada where everybody grows up immersed in the sport and it's part of the culture from a young age. Yes, some people over here may start watching or playing the game when they're very young, but the majority of people find it through other means, usually through someone they know who recommends it, which is exactly how I got into the sport in the first place. But if someone goes along to a game and doesn't yet understand or have a knowledge of the technicalities of the game, typically off-ice fan experiences are one of the things that will be most memorable to them, alongside of course having the best possible, most exciting game that you can. Another unique selling point of hockey over here is that of course you can drink in the arenas, whereas in football, alcohol is not allowed in the stands. So I think people see it as more than just going to watch sport, they see it as a night out with their friends, and that definitely contributes to the increasing popularity of the sport. Another aspect which influences this growth, in my opinion, is the sense of community that's felt among hockey in the UK. Because the fan bases are smaller, the chances are you're going to get to know people, especially in the smaller arenas like Dundee and Fife. If you go to the same place every weekend for the duration of September to April, you're going to make friends and you're going to meet new people. This community-like feel is definitely something that I think keeps the game growing. It's not just a game of hockey to most people. It's a place where friends and family spend time together watching something that is fun and exciting. And not only is this great for existing fans, but it will definitely encourage them to bring other people along to the games, which increases the numbers of the attendance and fans once again. So that's how the number of UK hockey fans stays on the rise. But what about the people that play the sport? The number of registered hockey players in Great Britain has stayed relatively consistent since 2019. As of 2024, there were 11,277 players registered according to the IHF. This is slightly less from the 13,327 registered in 2021 to 22, but most importantly, it is a huge increase from 2010 when there were only 4,901 players in the UK. So that has more than doubled in the last 15 years. Of course, this number does remain low in comparison to other European countries. Sweden has 61,932 registered players, Switzerland has 28,965, with Germany and France also remaining in front of Great Britain in terms of player numbers. In fact, the UK are just outside the top 10 countries by registered hockey players, in 11th spot overall. This figure remains lower due to ice availability, the cost involved with playing, and the significant travel for a lot of people just to go and train, never mind play. Yet still, more than 11,000 players continue to pursue the sport, which is a drastic increase from 2010. Also, out with the statistics, I feel like I just know of more kids that take up hockey as a sport, which is great to see. There's still a lot of room for development when it comes to creating homegrown hockey talent in the UK, but it's clear to see that people will continue to play no matter the obstacles. So it seems like the sport of hockey in the UK shows no signs of slowing down, with attendance rates going up, more games selling out, and a greater acknowledgement of the sport in society than ever before. Team GB have recently earned promotion into the top flight of the IHF World Championship after an unbeaten tournament earlier this year. New sponsors continue to invest their advertising into hockey jerseys, ice and arenas every season. More fans each year attend games, in turn increasing the revenue which goes into the teams, which in the long term contributes to better players, better fan experience and overall a better hockey culture in the UK. The challenges and obstacles remain for what is obviously still quite a niche sport. Who can compete with football over here? Really. But the ability to enjoy hockey in the UK changed my life forever, and I'm sure that many others are exactly the same. So let's hope that hockey on this side of the Atlantic can keep growing, keep getting better, and keep evolving for years to come. So that is all for today's video on the increasing popularity of hockey in the UK. I'm really excited for this series because I have a lot that I want to say about UK hockey, so let me know in the comment section though anything you would like me to cover in terms of UK hockey while it's still the off season. Before you go, please subscribe to my channel and also like this video if you did enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back soon with more hockey commentary and content.